The blue screen betrayal. Unmasking Toyota's silent epidemic. A blue light in the dark. The day Toyota broke my heart. Picture this. It's a cold morning in late autumn. The rain is slashing against your windshield, the traffic ahead is snaking into a red blur of brake lights, and you're running late for work, a meeting you absolutely cannot miss. You press the start button, the engine hums to life, and you glance at the center console, ready to queue up your favorite playlist. But instead of a menu, instead of a map, instead of your sanctuary, you see a clinical cold blue screen. A loading bar. Then nothing. The Toyota logo flashes. The blue screen returns. Reboot. Blue screen. Reboot. It's an endless loop, a digital heart attack in your dashboard. Now, multiply that feeling by the tens of thousands of owners across the globe. This is not a story about a cheap aftermarket radio from the 1990s. This is the story of Toyota, the giant of reliability, the brand that didn't need a bailout, the paragon of Japanese Kaizen. Continuous improvement, letting its loyal customers rot with a $2,000 repair bill for a defect that was baked into the hardware from day one. Question for the road. When you spend your hard-earned money on a product precisely because of its reputation for durability, does the manufacturer still owe you a duty of care when a non-moving part fails due to a factory flaw, even if the tires are still spinning? The blue screen plague. A widespread diagnostic. Stop. Before you dismiss this as just a radio problem and scroll away to check your stock portfolio, look at your own car's dashboard. Ask yourself, how many hours a day do you rely on that screen? For the modern driver, the infotainment center is the nervous system of the vehicle. The radio, the backup camera, a federally mandated safety feature in the US since 2018, mind you, the GPS navigation, and the hands-free calling are no longer luxuries. They are operational necessities. When the 2014 Toyota models from the Highlander and Camry to the Sienna and Tundra rolled off the assembly line, they carried a ticking time bomb in their dashboards. Users report the same chilling symptoms across thousands of forum threads, YouTube videos, and NHTSA complaints. It always starts the same way. Sporadic freezing. The volume knob stops responding. The screen turns into a touch-sensitive brick. Then comes the cascade failure and endless boot loop. You turn the key, the screen flickers, shows the Toyota logo full of promise, then fades to a dull blue screen of death, BSOD. It attempts to reboot, fails, and does it all over again. You cannot turn it off. You cannot kill the process. You are trapped in a digital purgatory. Data compiled from automotive forums shows this is not an isolated incident of user error, this is a manufacturing defect. The electricians on YouTube have solved the mystery. It is not a loose wire. It is not a bad battery. It is the motherboard. The heart of the machine is failing because of poor soldering, substandard capacitors, or a fundamental thermal design flaw. Once the motherboard is swapped, the system works perfectly. Toyota knows this. Their technicians know this. Yet, the official stance from the dealerships has been silence or, worse, ignorance. Question for the road. If a rogue mechanic on YouTube can diagnose the faulty motherboard in 15 minutes, how can a multinational engineering giant claim they cannot replicate the issue? The fine print versus the moral contract. Forget the warranty for a second, where is the honor? Let's talk about the psychology of buying a Toyota. You don't buy a Toyota for the sex appeal or the 0 to 60 times. You buy it for the resale value and the promise of the long haul. In the automotive world, Toyota is the John Wayne of cars. Tough, dependable, and financially conservative. That image was forged in the fires of the 2008 financial crisis, when Toyota didn't go crying to Washington for a bailout. They took their lumps, they innovated, and they maintained their pride. Akio Toyoda, the grandson of the founder, famously went on a listening tour and dragged the company back from mediocrity to excellence. But that was then. This is now. When a 2014 car's engine throws a rot at 100,000 miles, we might argue about maintenance. But when a factory-installed proprietary computer system fails due to bad soldering, a manufacturing flaw, the clock on fair wear and tear should stop ticking. You paid for a car with a fully functional navigation system, a CD player, and South Dakota card reader, and hands-free calling. If the radio breaks because you dropped a coffee on it, that's on you. If the screen fails because the motherboard was a lemon the day it was built, that is 100% on Toyota. The average Toyota owner is not a mechanic. They are a teacher, a nurse, or a small business owner. When the dealer hits them with a $1,500 to $2,000 quote to replace the entire head unit, the owner faces an impossible choice. Pay a ransom to restore the function they already paid for, or drive in silence with a brick dashboard. Question for the boardroom. Akio Toyota, if your grandfather saw the videos of your loyal brand ambassadors begging for a recall for a part that costs $150 to remanufacture, what would he say about the DNA of the company today? The safety distraction hazard. Put down the phone. Or the car will kill you. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NHTSA, is very clear on distracted driving. In many states, holding a phone to your ear while driving is a primary offense. The fines are steep, and the insurance hikes are even steeper. So why is Toyota creating an environment where the driver is forced to engage in high-risk behavior? Let's get real. If your GPS screen is dead, you reach for your phone. You pick it up. You squint to see the map. You get that dreaded text message preview. In the 3 seconds it takes you to glance at your phone, you have just traveled the length of a football field at highway speed. A 2014 study from AAA and the University of Utah found that tasks like programming a GPS can distract drivers for up to 40 seconds, and even voice-controlled commands can cause mental distraction long after the command is given. Toyota's own joint research with the University of Washington confirmed that operating touchscreens in moving vehicles increases lane departure by over 40%. By refusing to fix a known hands-free Bluetooth and navigation fault, Toyota is functionally turning thousands of drivers into distracted driving violators. You cannot safely drive a modern car in a major city without navigation or hands-free calling. The failure of the infotainment center isn't just an annoyance. It is a safety regression. If a braking system had a failure rate this high, the government would shut down the production line. Yet because it's just a screen it gets a pass. It shouldn't. When the screen is blue, the driver is forced to look down at a phone. When the driver looks down, someone gets hurt. Question for the regulator. If the failure of a safety interface, like a backup camera display, or a hands-free system forces the driver to use a handheld device, is the manufacturer not a direct party to the liability of the resulting distraction? The dealer evolution and the corporate indifference. You are smarter than the dealer. Here is the most damning piece of evidence. If you search Toyota blue screen fix on YouTube today, you will find a cottage industry of honest electricians. These are men and women with soldering irons and multimeters who have figured out the truth. They aren't replacing the whole radio. They are opening the case, reflowing the solder on the main processor, or swapping out a specific chip on the motherboard. One technician published a step-by-step video showing that the unit works perfectly once you remove the faulty logic board. That video has over 1 million views. In the comments section, you will find hundreds of confirmations. I did this, and it worked. Saved me $2,000. The existence of these videos is Toyota's ultimate indictment. If the issue were a software glitch, a firmware update, USB would fix it permanently. But users report the reboots continue even after updates. If it were a wear and tear issue, it wouldn't present as a total hardware failure on vehicles with only 40,000 miles. The video evidence turns the issue from a complex diagnostic into a simple manufacturing recall. When Toyota service advisors see these videos, they often shrug. They know the warranty has expired. They know corporate hasn't authorized the part. So they push the $2,000 replacement. This is the profit center of the service department. The exploitation of a known engineering defect. Question for the technician. Why do you charge a customer $2,000 for a whole new assembly when you know, and the internet knows, that the problem is a $2 transistor on the motherboard? The global perspective. A hole in the Kaizen shield. Toyota isn't a car company. It's a religion, and religion needs a reformation. Let's travel to Pakistan for a moment. In the Packwheels forums, owners of the Toyota Corolla Altis have launched a massive campaign against the automaker. They describe the exact same symptoms: lag, crashing, and blue screens. They point out that the hardware is running an ancient Android 4.4.2 operating system with an ARM Cortex-A7 processor hardware that was obsolete the day the car went on sale. The owners there wrote an open letter: "Dear Indus Motor Company, the infotainment unit is not up to mark and should be recalled immediately. They are a blot on the face of such a nice car. This is not a North American issue. This is not a European issue. This is a global hardware failure." In the United States, Toyota issued technical service bulletins, TSBs, like number TSB 004714, which vaguely addressed freezing issues but stopped short of a full recall because a recall implies a safety defect, and Toyota has successfully argued to the NHTSA that a broken screen is merely a comfort issue, not a safety issue. Meanwhile, the Sienna saw a recall for a plastic trim clip that could detach during an airbag deployment, but not for a screen that kills your ability to navigate safely. Where is the consistency? Question for leadership. How do you reconcile replacing a plastic clip for safety globally while ignoring a digital brain that controls your backup camera and hands-free mic on the same assembly line? The consumer's call. You are not helpless. Stop lurking on the forum and start moving. I know you are tired. I know you feel cheated. But sitting in silence waiting for a postcard from Toyota is a fool's errand. Toyota is a data-driven company. They move when the cost of not moving exceeds the cost of the fix. Here is your roadmap. 1. Document everything. Record the blue screen on your phone. Make sure the timestamp is visible. Save every diagnostic quote from the dealer. 2. File a complaint with NHTSA. Go to nhtsa.gov/recalls. 3. Even if you think it's not a safety issue, check the box that says loss of vehicle control or backup camera malfunction. Put the pressure on the regulator. 4. The motherboard fix. If you are out of warranty, do not pay $2,000. Find a reputable automotive electronics repair shop. Show them the YouTube videos. Demand a motherboard repair, not a replacement. 5. The collective voice. Join the class action discussions. Toyota has faced suits before regarding the elimination of Entune app support. We need a unified front for the hardware failure. Question for the victim. If you spent $40,000 on a car and the engine seized due to a factory defect, you would be on the phone with a lawyer in 5 minutes. Why are you letting them get away with stealing your stereo? The executive summary? Doing the right thing. It's not about the money. It's about the DNA. Toyota, I love your cars. I love that you didn't ask for a bailout. I love the craftsmanship. But this silence is insulting. You are forcing a customer who evangelized your brand to become your critic. A recall for the 2014 models would cost a fraction of your annual ad budget. It would generate positive global headlines not just for fixing a screen, but for listening. We need a free repair for the motherboard. We need a software unlock that bypasses the faulty sectors. We need a path to restoration that doesn't cost a month's rent. Final question. Do you want to be remembered as the company that built the million-mile engine, or the company that crushed loyalty for the price of a motherboard? Final call to action. Stop waiting for a letter. If you own a 2014-2016 Toyota with a blue screen, take action tonight. Print out the NHTSA complaint form. Call your dealer and ask for the service manager, not the scheduler. Cite TSB 004714. Tell them you are aware of the motherboard defect. If they refuse, take it to an independent electronics shop. Reclaim your dashboard. And for those of you who haven't been affected yet, check your firmware version. Update it via the Toyota portal. But know that if the hardware dies, the software won't save you. We are millions strong. Let's make some noise. Food for thought. The car is the body, the manufacturer is the spirit. I invite you to step away from the mechanical for a moment and look at this situation through the lens of the healer and the cleaner. You see, a human body and a Toyota car share a tragic similarity. They are both miracles of engineering that are often poisoned by neglect from their own creators. The holistic healer looks at your blue screen and sees systemic inflammation. Your car is inflamed. The motherboard is failing because the body, the car, is rejecting a foreign object, the faulty board. In healing, when a rash appears, you don't just cut off the skin. You find the toxin in the blood. The toxin here is corporate complacency. Toyota is trying to treat the symptom, denying the repair, instead of curing the disease, the bad batch of motherboards. A true healer knows that a patient in pain cannot be gaslit. If the patient says, "I have a fever," the doctor doesn't tell them the thermometer is broken. Toyota, your customer has a fever. Do not tell them to turn up the AC. The health investigator journalist looks at the dashboard and sees exposure therapy gone wrong. The driver is forced to reach for their phone. Biologically, when we drive, our adrenal glands are already spiking cortisol due to traffic and time pressure. Adding the cognitive load of fumbling for a Bluetooth connection or mounting a phone to the vent spikes your heart rate to dangerous levels. Chronic stress from this connected disconnection leads to hypertension. By refusing to fix the hands-free system, Toyota is writing a prescription for high blood pressure and road rage. Safety isn't just about airbags. It's about a calm, functional cockpit. Toyota, you have a beautiful chassis, a pristine paint job, and a legacy of gold. But right now, you have a blue screen of death in your soul. You are hoarding $2,000 repair bills for $50 circuit boards. You are trading your heritage for short-term profit. Just as a body that holds onto toxins becomes cancerous, a corporation that holds onto defects becomes obsolete. You survived the financial crisis because you had integrity. Where is that integrity now? Clean the wound, Toyota. Replace the motherboard. Heal the brand. Or one day, you will wake up to find that the only blue screen left is the one on your quarterly earnings report, staring back at you in the silent reboot loop of a customer who simply drove away to a competitor and never came back. Drive safe. Stay active. Please tell me what you think and how you feel about this issue. Analyze it, brainstorm it, debate it, and if you like it, please share it. Thank you for watching. I truly and highly appreciate you, and God bless you.